if you can look at the so-called higher order, or the European, the Caucasoid, who is now so-called ruling the planet, he is pale almost to the point of being sheet white and with red hair. Therefore, all indications of the Neanderthal, which I was speaking years ago about, that the Neanderthal still is, or the Neo-Neanderthal is the ruler, so-called, of the planet now, or has now conquered based on that rulership. You can see that the ruling hierarchy are all redheads. You could look at the prince, what's his name? Not Andrew, but his brother. You can look at all the movies you see out today, the TV. There's always these redhead white women that they're promoting, redhead in all your commercials. Open your eyes. Take a deeper look at who it is that they're promoting to you as the alpha human being. And it is most assuredly and invariably in the main red-headed and pale. So now you're watching the Neo-Neanderthal essentially trying to invest into your psyche who it is that you need to emulate and who it is that now rules the planet.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. When you're looking at the Neanderthal, I know that I've read articles about them being cannibalistic. And if you're talking about 4 to 10% of that is within their genetic strand, even today, you know, I mean, where does that stand at as far as the current information that we've been talking about? I know that it's been all over the place about the blood sacrificing and so forth and so on.
Yeah, anything that has to do with red is essentially what they are dealing with now. Blood sacrifices being just one of them, being the symbology. Looking at anything red, you look at Rothschild, the Red Shield. Rothschild pretty much runs the banking system for the entire planet now. Estimated a worth at $800 trillion. If you look at the new movies that are coming out, all the superheroes now, if you're looking at children's movies coming out of children's cartoons coming out of Japan with the hentais and all the rest of these cartoons, there are all these red-headed, white and pale Neanderthal throwbacks to what they call the superior human. The same is also evident if you're looking at the new superheroes when you look at the word Thor. The word Thor spelled backwards is Roth, and Roth in German is red. So these, everywhere you go, you will see that the Neanderthal is actually showing you who he is. And now that he is coming out showing you scientifically that this is who he is telling you that even if, instead of it being the other way around, dig the psychology, dig the reverse psychology, we know that the black African, what they call the black African, or the Nubanoid, I call the Nubanoid African, the one that the indigenous autochthonous human being was coal black, almost to the point of disappearing at night, with a hue. That's where the hue came in, that radiated hue, that iridescence that the skin gave off in either blue or green tones. This particular human now was the original and is the dominant genetic strand. But then now they're going to reverse the psychology and tell you that if you have any bit of genetics, it's not that you are an African with some Neanderthal genetics based on interbreeding, but that you are a Neanderthal with African genetics. So what they're doing essentially is flipping the script and making you believe that the recessive can now claim dominance and say that you are a Neanderthal by essentially the interbreeding of Neanderthal with the indigenous Africans. So the ones that are in the northern part that they say have been interbred with the Neanderthals, all this being explained about him saying that, you know, those who go back to Africa are still Neanderthals, still not explaining where the Neanderthal originated. If the human is actually originated in Africa, where do you come from? And everywhere he digs on the planet, he still cannot find evidence for his existence.
Well, that might go back to what Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about, is that they was made in a laboratory, and by, as we would say, 24 scientists, and that that is where, that genetic manipulation actually took place at. And so,
Yeah.
that would account for the fact why they are so interested in, genetics. You don't see, said, the average, black, Moorish person, interested in those types of things.
Yeah.
Is always, the promotion of it, as we see within the media, via cartoon, via internet, so forth and so on. So that makes
Well,
a lot of sense.